Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Izzat from Center for Corporate and Community Development, University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Utah. Today, we are presenting competitive advantage through innovation, past, present, and future by TS Dr. Lee Chen Kang. Dr. Lee is an assistant professor at the Department of Information System, Faculty of Information and Communications Technology, Utah. He received his Bachelor of Information Technology from the University of Tenaga Nasional, Malaysia in 2004 and Masters in Knowledge Management with Multimedia from Multimedia University in 2007. He completed his PhD in ICT from University of Tenaga Nasional, Malaysia in 2018. His research interests include knowledge management, computer-aided learning, educational technology, and user experience design. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat box in your Zoom control panel. I will bring them up during the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. For Utah students and staff, please sign in and sign out in the link posted in the same chat box in your Zoom control panel. Now, without further delay, let us turn the time over to Dr. Lee.
Thank you very much to our respective MC today, Mr. Izzat. A very good afternoon to my respective audience. Nice to see you all today. So today, we will share with you regarding the webinar on innovation. To allow me to share the slide. I hope all of you already took your lunch. If no, then you can enjoy your lunch while listening to the sharing. So today I would like to share with you regarding the competitive advantage that we can gain through innovation, the past, the present, and the future. Any questions you have, you can put it in the chat box. Later, I will respond to you. First of all, let's have a look what actually innovation is. Normally, when you see the words innovation, what actually you have in your mind? What do you think innovation is? Some people may say innovation is about idea generation, about invention, about creativity, about coming up with some new finding, etc., etc. Let's have a look what actually innovation is. Today, everybody is talking about it. If we look from the corporate world, we know that through the corporate slogan, their company vision and mission, you will easily find the words innovation. Let's have a look. For Procter & Gamble, you can see that our brands are trusted in millions of living rooms, all of their products, and have been passed down from generations to generation. Over the course of 181 years, they have challenged conventions, lead innovations, and helped to shape the culture. How Procter & Gamble emphasis on the innovation. Let's have a look on Virgin. We believe in making a difference, by which Virgin stands for value, for money, quality, innovations, fun, sense of competitive challenges. So you can see how they continue to collect the feedback from their customers to improve customer experience through innovations effort. For 3M, one of the innovations lead company, science and technology can make the world a far safer and faster places. When collaborations result in meaningful innovations, solving real problems, it becomes amazing and inspiring how 3M value innovation. For Siemens, innovation is their lifeblood. For Microsoft, their founder, Bill Gates, once he mentioned, we are always saying to themselves, we have to innovate, we have got to come up with that breakthrough. For the late Steve Jobs, innovation distinguishes between a leader and also a follower. I like the definitions from the late management guru, Peter Drucker. He mentioned before, the enterprise that does not innovate inevitable ages and decline, and in a period of rapid change. For example, the present, the decline will be faster. This is something that he mentioned 30 years ago. We can see, this is something happened today. And he further mentioned, since we are living in the age of innovations, Normally, a practical education must prepare someone for the work that not yet exists or something that we cannot yet to be defined. This is something that Peter Drucker mentioned before. The founder for Virgin, Richard Branson, he even stressed that there's no substitutes for innovation. Original revolutionary ideas will always rise to the top. These are some things that we can see in the markets. Peter Drucker mentioned that innovation is a specific instrument for entrepreneurships, okay, by which through the innovations effort, they are able to create a new wealth. For the management guru, Michael Porter, he says so, innovation is a central issue for the economic prosperity. You can see how important it is. So until today, if you browse through all the company website regarding their vision, mission, you can see thousands, hundreds mission statements that clearly stress on how important innovation is to their customer, to their shareholder, to their business, to the markets. And most often, when we look seriously into it, it is about the company's survival for today. Innovation does make a huge difference. I'm not sure whether you're aware about this story. The logic is straightforward. If you don't change, we are capable of being replaced by others. So this led me to think about the story about Kodak. I believe you still remember the Kodak story. Kodak basically one occasion, they are one of the leading company in the film-oriented camera business. Okay, that one is 1970 plus. But today, where is Kodak? In recent, I believe that you know about Kodak, that basically they lose a lot and even apply for the bankruptcy. But 30 years ago, okay, when they are the market leader for the film-oriented camera business, that time they are actually too proud over what they have. Do you know that they are the ones who are actually invented the digital camera from their research lab? But because their business that time on the film-oriented camera is too good that they are having a great profits because of that, they choose to keep their inventions of the digital camera in the labs. We wait for a few years. Because currently our business is so good with the current product we have. Later on, some other company also coming out with something similar, digital camera, and they launch it in the market. And this replaced the film-oriented camera that time. And Kodak realized about this, quickly launched their digital camera technology, but it's already too late. It's already too late. So sometimes we can see the pace of competition is so drastic in the marketplace, by which if you have some new inventions, if you keep it or too proud over your current practice, sometimes you are not aware someone is picking up and may replace us very fast. Those enterprises which survive do so because they are capable to focus on the regular and focus on the change. So we know that the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, once he mentioned, currently one of the biggest and most successful company, Microsoft, takes their view that it always only 2 years away from extinctions. Even the founder for one of the founder of the Intel, Andy Grove, he mentions that the only paranoid of survive actually is based on innovation. So how actually the industry are looking seriously onto the innovations efforts. When we talk about innovation, let's have a quick view regarding the history. It came from the Latin word innovare, meaning to make something new. When we say to make something new, when we make it more complete, it is a process that we try to turning the opportunity into new ideas, and we try to put all these new ideas into widely used practice. We call it innovation. But when we define it in this way, maybe some of us may think about, can we have more detail about what innovation is? I like Peter Drucker very much, especially his philosophy. He mentioned previously in his book, innovation is a specific tools for entrepreneurs by which they exploit change as an opportunity for different business or service. Innovation is something capable to present it as a discipline. Yes, today we have a new discipline we call innovation management, capable of being learned, yes, capable of being practiced. 30 years ago, what Peter Drucker mentioned, his prediction become a realistic today, that innovation is something that people emphasize a lot in order to be unique, to gain the competitive advantage compared to the competitor. Sometimes we may strike in our mind having the concept, does invention equals to innovation? What do you think? Does inventions equals to innovation? Some people may say, sir, I agree with you. Invention equals to innovation. Some people may have their doubts in their mind. Not really. Some people may say, sure, invention sure equals to innovation. Let me share you a story. Actually, invention is not equals to innovation. Innovation cover more than what invention have. Let's look back to the past popular story that happened in US. I believe you still can recognize this company. It is still available today. We call Singer. Okay, Singer. Singer, basically, they are so famous is because they are the first one that commercialized the sewing machine and launching it in the market. And because of the business strategy, they managed to perform on the sewing machine, makes their brand become so famous. The founder also called Singer. His company, he named it as Singer also. But you know that actually for Singer, this sewing machine actually is not, they are the first one who having this invention. There are others people, okay, already have the idea about the sewing machine concepts. They apply it in a small scales to solve the issue about how to use the hand sewing to become the machine sewing process. But Singer, we can say that he is a very wise innovator. He observed the concepts for sewing machine, and he think about how can he make sewing machines a business that is able to produce a better profit. And because of this, he tried to put in the efforts to combine field design for the sewing machines and launch the sewing machines product in the markets for the general public user. It became a great demand during that time that impact the market in US. He is not the inventor, but he is the innovator that take the idea of the inventions and then further process it, combine it, and then able to commercialize it up to the markets, reach the hand of the end user in general. So this is something that invention is just a part of innovations, but innovations cover more than what invention have. When we're going to talk about innovations, normally I would like to make it into a simple formula by which innovations will be equals to creativity that we have to coming out some invention, and how do we able to make the inventions into some successful implementation, including packaging, marketing, launching the products to the market. The whole process from idea generations, idea filtering, idea consolidations up to the development, implementations, launching the market, the whole process that's being performed, we call it innovation process. And normally they are performed by entrepreneur, the businessman that dare to take the risk to create, to explore new business opportunity, we call entrepreneur. So the whole life cycle from idea generations up to design, develop, up to the launching, the whole life cycle, the whole process we call innovation. Sometimes when we talk about innovations start from a new idea generations, the creativity. I liked the English philosopher John Locke statement a lot. He once mentioned a few hundred years ago, new opinions are always suspected and usually opposed without any reasons, just because they are not already common. I'm not sure whether you all agree or not with John Locke. Normally, when you have a good idea, you have something creative, something unique, something novel. Do you ever know that when you share to someone, if someone laughs at you, you don't feel disappointed, you don't feel stressed, annoyed, or sad. This is a good sign that nobody ever think about it. And it is not something common, and it has the potential to be continued for the further efforts. If the idea you have, you share with people, People knock their head, agree, very good idea, very good idea. That idea, not necessarily a good idea, because it's already common that people have the reasons to agree or something that they already know about it. That's why when some new inventions come up during the idea generation stage, during the brainstorming sessions, sometimes when your idea is being laughed by people, stupid idea, lousy idea, not that good idea, it's okay. Take it positively, because if you continue not to give up, something might happen in the process. I share with you two stories. One is the story that I believe you all know about this figure, Ninja Turtle. Ninja Turtle basically originally, maybe all of you are exposed to it for the Ninja Turtle toys, the movies, but originally it is from a US teenage, two of the US teenage, by which they draw the Ninja Turtle character through their comic series. During that time, 1984, 30 years ago, when they have the concepts about Ninja Turtle, they try to package the turtle into ninja form and then have a storyline into their comic series. They want to find someone who can invest for them to further print their books, the comics, and the following series. They can't find enough resources or budget or the funding to do so. They go over and over to different publisher, to the publisher. When the publisher owner look at the idea, they laugh at them, stupid idea. How can people make the ugly turtle into ninja form? Nobody will like your idea. This idea is totally lousy. Get out from my office. They are getting disappointed by different publisher respondent. Finally, there's one publisher that looks seriously into their idea. A very small publisher, they like this idea and they sponsored putting the funding to make it a commercialized comic series. Later on, it became one of the great series in US. Later on, people found them for further collaborations to make it into cartoon series, to make it into some byproducts for the cute little Ninja Turtle, into the toys, into the movies, 3D movies today. You can see how success it is. If at the beginning stage, they already give up, they think the idea is something lousy, not that good, they already give up. They know we don't have the chance to see such a nice Ninja Turtle today. And then we have a look on the 3M inventions. 3M basically is the innovations lead company by which they have a lot of new innovative products that cover all our daily expenses, usage, the grocery, toiletries, etc., etc. There's one occasion in their research lab, they have one of the failure product by which initially they want to create the notes that you can stick on somewhere, by which it is the products that they want to launch it. But because of the chemical mixture, the notes cannot stick very tight. That's why they claim it is a failure product. So throughout the process, they are having the dilemma whether we want to launch this product or not. And then one of the designers insists to launch it. And after they launch it, they didn't expect it become one of the best-selling products until today for 3M company because of the mistake they make for the chemical mixture, for the sticky elements, for the notes. It becomes not that sticky and it becomes so useful that you can use it to stick on your walls and it won't spot your walls, stick on the screens, the tables, and become one of the useful material because sticky notes, right? So sometimes we don't look down for what we have did wrongly or the mistakes. Sometimes learn from it, keep on the efforts to struggle, go through it. Sometimes you explore a new world, a new finding because of that. This is something that inspired me a lot. We continue further. When we talk about innovations, I like the definitions for Tits and Bessons from UK, by which they categorize the type of innovations according to 4P. They call it 4Ps models. Okay, so they have products or / service innovation, process innovation, position innovations, and also paradigm innovation. What are the examples for this? Product innovation, I think should be straightforward for you all. Okay, for example, any new products launching in the market, the first time they are in the market, 3D printer, USB pen drive, when they are first in the market, dishwasher, Sony Walkmans, all these initially, they are coming from product innovations. All the new products launched in the market, sure, they are coming from product innovation. Do you heard about the story about Sony Walkman? Where does Sony Walkman, this idea come from? Why it is called Walkman? I believe you know, Sony basically is a very creative company with a lot of the stylish product, especially on the digital appliances. Many years ago, okay, one of the design engineer from Sony, he went to US Chicago, okay, to attend a meeting. After the meeting, he walked on the street. Then he observed that there's some teenage or there's some youngster, okay, on the Chicago street that time, carry a big radio, okay, having the tape inside the radio and then put in the battery and then dancing on the street using the big radio, carrying it, dang, 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 dang. Then he think about why the youngster, they need to carry a huge heavy radio and then put in the battery that time and then play the music and then dancing on the street. Can we having some new invention that is light enough for them to put the tape, that time is a tape era, and then they can play it. So he went back to Tokyo, Sony main, okay, office, and then they invented Walkman series. Walkman is because of this story that they use it to remember this. So Sony Walkman already evolved from the tape base to CD to the MP3 until today become a very stylish digital appliances that is very tiny, very small. Product innovation. Process innovation means the innovations that we can focus on changing in the process to offer some alternative process to replace the current one. For example, drive-through today is not something new. Everyone are using it for the conveniences, e-business, delivery services, supply chain process like what Toyota have to improve their supply chain managing process from the handmade to become machine made, to become the custom made, to become the homemade today. So change in the process, how the products or how something are being produced, we call process innovation. Maybe initially the process take about 5 cycles, you can reduce it to become 3 cycles. This is something, a new finding, we also call process innovation. The next one we call positions innovation. Position means change in the context or change in the domain that particular product or that particular things are being used for. Okay, for example, milk powder for certain niche in the markets, they are focused for positions, innovations that they are not focused on everyone. So there's some of the protein powder that purposely being manufactured for those gym lovers to build their muscle. So they are not focused on the general public, but for those who want to build their muscles, they are focusing on this market's niche. We call position innovation by rebranding their milk powder for that niche gyms lovers. There's one company, Appeton, they have one product we call Appeton weight gain. Normally, the products for those milk powder is for people in order to reduce, for example, now they have some things to reduce the fats, burn the calorie. But Appeton go the other way by which they offered for those thin guys to have the milk powder that can increase their weight rather than reduce their weight. They call Appeton weight gains milk powder. So this is what we call position innovation, that you reshaping your target audience and then just focus on certain niche in the markets. Like previously, polycarbonate material, it is one of the plastic material that widely used in the manufacturing industry to make the container, okay, for the chemical elements for the container. And today it is being brought to the toy industry to produce the polycarbonate chair for the kids, polycarbonate horse. This is something that light in the weight and also cheap for the ingredients and also very useful for the strength, positions, innovation. It can also be changed in the context. Initially, when laptops are being introduced, I'm not sure whether do you know that their target is for those businessmen that need to bring the lightweight computer system here and there to perform their business activity. But today, the laptops basically are shifting the focus to the students or the learners who perform e-learning activities. So this also we call positions innovation. And the next one we call paradigm innovations. Paradigm, from the words we know, it is change in the perceptions, change in the mindsets of someone, by which change in the mental model. We can see one of the famous case study is our Malaysian company, AirAsia. AirAsia is not the first who introduced the budget airline services. Before them, there's others company who already offered. But AirAsia becomes so famous is because they make the budget airline services become feasible, become popular, become something practical that is widely influenced the whole world. So when we talk about paradigm innovation, we always take AirAsia as an example. AirAsia, the founder, Tony Fernandez, he make the slogans everyone can fly in order to change the perceptions of the people that the flight is not for rich people. You no need to spend a lot to having the flight service. Everyone can fly is a paradigm innovation that reshaping people's perceptions about how they look at the flight industry. And this is something that reshaping the flight industry. When the ICT revolutions come in, we know that internet technology become merged. So there's the practice for e-business models that you can perform the business activity online. I think today become a norm due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It even boosts up the pace. This is also what we call paradigm innovations. Previously, nobody think ever, okay, that you can perform the payments, do the transactions, just few clicks within your computer system. No need to go out from your home, your doorsteps. You need, last time people need to go to the brick and mortar shops, but today no need. Okay, just few clicks. Everything can be done easily within few days. You're able to get the product. Even in China, within 1 day, few hours, you're able to get the products to your doorstep. This is what we call paradigm innovation that change the human perceptions, human mindsets. When we talk about innovations, we also can categorize them according to 2 dimensions. One we call disruptive. Some country they call radical. Some practitioner, they call it discontinuous. No matter you call disruptive, radical, discontinuous, they refer to the same thing. That's mean those innovations that give the great impact by which it totally changed the current rule of the games, change the framework that we perform the activity. It focus on do differently. The next innovation we call incremental innovations that normally it take place by which improvements are done 1 stage at a time until whatever need to change are being changed. Doing something better, make it even better. Most of the time, we might have a concept that innovations focus on disruptive, but actually, disruptive innovations only contribute 6 to 10% of all the projects we call disruptive innovations. Majority of the innovations happens follow the incremental fashions. 90 to 95 innovations efforts we see in the industry are focused on incremental. Because disruptive innovations, the risk to associate with it is too high. The uncertainty is too high. That's why sometimes in order to strike a balance, sometimes the corporate, they will try to focus more on incremental. But do you know that normally a new finding that totally new to the world, new to the domain, new to the industry that coming in, they start from disruptive innovation first. And then people keep on improving it. They follow incremental innovations until certain stage. Some new things come in disruptive way to replace the old practice. Disruptions come again, and then you follow incremental. So can you see the cycle? Everything that comes to the new to the world or new to the industry practice, they follow disruptive to change the framework, change the rule, and people keep on improving, follow incremental, and then something comes in as a new disruptive. So let's take some example. From typewriter to computer, disruptive innovations, that typewriter is out from the market because computer replaced it previously. From floppy disk to USB pen drive, until today cloud storage, this is also follow disruptive innovations, the whole frameworks, the whole rule of the games for storage change. OHV projector, today no more, being replaced by LCD projector, etc., etc. Disruptive. So normally you can see majority of the disruptive innovations comes in because of the technology leading efforts contribute to this. In 18th century in Europe, they have what we call the ice harvesting industry to preserve, okay, the foods during the summertime, okay, when there's no refrigerator. But when refrigerators are being invented, this ice harvesting industry no more because we can store the foods in the refrigerator. That refrigerator play the games, the new framework for the food's preservations as compared to ice harvesting practice. Incremental innovations example a lot. For example, from the LCD monitor, you change your LED to plasma. Actually, the mechanism still similar, just the improvement in the components from the glasses that you wear, semi-frame, no frame, until today full frame, even you all like the thick frame glasses. This is something incremental fashions. The sports shoes previously with the air layer become the sports shoe with the softened foam, and then further and further. Wired mouse become wireless mouse. All this is the incremental innovation. Mouse is still the mouse, provided you have something that replaces the mouse that you use every day, right? So this is the dimension also, we can have a look there. When we talk about competitive advantage, today it comes from innovation. Innovation become the unique factor that contribute for competitive advantage. But where does innovations come from? Innovations actually come from knowledge. Without knowledge, there's no such a thing we call innovations. There's no such a thing we call competitive advantage. Innovation is not something that dropped from the sky or something that suddenly has some idea. It is a knowledge-based process that you need to have a knowledge on a certain thing. Because of that knowledge, you generate some new idea, and the new idea contribute to some new inventions, new finding, and you further implement it to become the innovations effort. So knowledge we define as the know plus how, the understanding you have some over something, and also the actions you perform. And innovation, as I mentioned, creativity plus actions that we have that can contribute to competitive advantage. Let's have a quick view regarding the current era. We know that the current era we call knowledge economy era, by which the whole global economy are driven by knowledge itself. So knowledge become a useful resources as compared to the other tangible resources like the labor, the land, the capital. Actually, knowledge is something valuable because it is a source for innovation. The more you know how to leverage what you know, the more you can generate ideas from there. Then you know how to turn your ideas into something practical, something useful, something can be commercialized. It becomes the innovations effort. So we know that today, under knowledge economy era, because of the technological revolutions, we also have the fourth industrial revolutions we call industrial revolutions 4.0. So from the first revolutions that focus on water power, steam power, until the mass production assembly line because of the electricity, okay, factors, and then we move to the third era we call computer and automations coming in. Until today, we have the cyber world and also physical world combinations we call the fourth industrial revolutions. For the fourth industrial revolutions, the whole innovations are led by the technology, especially the ICT technology that becomes smarter and smarter because of the AI technology and etc. This is something unavoidable. But dear audience, don't just focus that the fourth industrial revolutions is about technology. It is not just about technology or the business. It is about the whole reshaping over our society. Do you ever encounter this? That means four industrial revolutions is not impact us on the technology usage, but also the way we live, the way we perform our daily activity. It is about the society change. That's why in Japan, the Japan government, they have a plan by which currently they are trying to emphasize on society 5.0 by utilizing the ICT technology to make society as smart as possible. They call super smart society. Okay, so they define it according to 5 eras, from the ancient hunting society to agricultural society to industrial society to ICT information-based society until today, super smart society because of the IR 4.0. This is something that how the technology actually impact our whole society change. And through this process of the breakthrough, it is the efforts of innovations breakthrough that we have. Today, I think you've seen this drawing before through the social media circulations. Actually, it is from the magazines, The Economist in year 2019. Today, the world's most valuable resources is not oil. And all the company, the giant ID company, ID savvy company, they are mining for data. So data become the valuable resources that we know. It is not happens previously. We know that these 5 company, okay, actually I take out one because it's no more. Okay, never exists 20 years ago, by which you can see the largest accommodation provider, Airbnb, owns no real estates. The popular media provider creates no contents. The most valuable photo company previously sell no camera. The fastest growing television network lays no cable. The most valuable retailer, Alibaba, have no inventory. What they emphasize is the knowledge resources to create the value for their client. Tangible resources is just supporting. It is not the primary resources that can help the company to grow. This is something that I like. Do you know that under the Industrial Revolution 4.0, the competition is not focusing on the technology that you use to offer the best product, but how can you collect appropriate data and then combine them to become the knowledge that you know what type of premium, unique digital services you can counter offer for your client. So all these companies, I believe you are familiar with them. They are all IT leading giant company in the industry, by which they are not offering the products only, but also through the data they collected from the client, from the markets, they analyze it and know what is the need, what is the demand, and what type of digital services it is needed by the industry. So we know that knowledge as a source, okay, for innovation, that it is undeniable. And when we talk about knowledge, this is a typical hierarchical chart that you know. Okay, the predecessor for knowledge come from informations come from data, and the predecessor for wisdom is knowledge. So this is what we call the hierarchical for data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. Data is the raw facts. By itself, it have no meaning. But a group of data, a huge group of data that you analyze, that you interpret, you may find some patterns from there that give you some information. Data in certain form, information to inform you. And based on what you get to be informed, you understand, you know how to react, that one we call knowledge. And then whatever you know how to react, you understand, it can create the welfare for the society growth spiritually, that one we call wisdom. That one we call wisdom. So when it move up the hierarchy, it will become more and more heuristic, human nature, more and more become human way of practice, right? So we continue to have a look. When we talk about knowledge, actually we have two. One we call tacit knowledge, one we call explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge are those knowledge you can easily express it using words, using language, using some systematic procedure. For example, how do you, okay, drive from your house to Lotus, okay, grocery mart, then you know you need to turn left, turn right. That one is the explicit knowledge that we can express it systematically. The documentations, the procedure, the rules, the instruction handouts, all these we call explicit knowledge. One type of the knowledge, the other type we call tacit knowledge, by which it is normally reside in the brain of the humans, that is not easily to be expressed, but it is something that is valuable because of the experience that embedded with it. Okay, for example, if you listen to my previous talk last year, you know that someone is good in fried the kway teow. Okay, but when the father passed the fried kway teow business to the son, okay, the customer complained, how come the kway teow tastes not that nice? I want the father to fry. The sons actually fried not that nice. The father said, I passed all the secrets how to fry the kway teow to my sons. But how come the taste still got some different? Because what the father can pass to the son is the ingredient, is the procedure, is the step-by-steps. This is what we call explicit knowledge. You can easily make it into some procedural way. But what the father cannot pass to the son is the experience that the father accumulated throughout all these years. How he hold the wok, how he do the estimation, okay, based on the heat, based on the temperature, okay, when should he need to put in the tauge or put in the meat slice. All this basically based on the experience and also adjustment. All this associated with tacit knowledge. And do you all know that actually for all the knowledge we have, those considered explicit knowledge is just 5 to 10% of what we claim as knowledge. Majority of the knowledge still remains in the human brain. We call it tacit knowledge. It is the most valuable thing that we have. However, it is not easy to codify. Someone pass away, the tacit knowledge will pass away together with that person. So today, in the practice of knowledge management, we are doing our efforts to preserve the tacit knowledge as much as possible, because we know that when someone pass or leave the company, they also bring away their knowledge, especially those tacit knowledge that's valuable. There's actually some things that contribute a lot as the idea for innovation. So the main source for innovations, actually, when you make it more clear, it is rely on tacit knowledge. It is rely on tacit knowledge, the knowledge that we have in the brains, the knowledge that is not easy to codify. Let's have a look further. So here, I would like to share with you some of the best practice for managing innovation. Due to the time constraint, I will just selectively and pick some to share with you, okay, regarding some of the best practice for managing innovation. To make innovations happen besides the creativity, actually, do you know that for creativity, many of us may think that I'm not born to be creative, but do you know that creativity, there's a 5 schools of philosophy about creativity. Among the 5, 4 of them, they claim that creativity is something you can learn, you can be trained, you can cultivate. It is not born to be. Only 1 school of the philosophy think that creativity is you born to be. Either you have or you don't have. But the remaining 4 schools of the philosopher, they claim that creativity, you can cultivate, you can learn, you can practice, you can train to be more creative. Let's have a look on some best practice for managing innovation. One of the best practice I like it is the both strategy and not the or strategy. Do you know that? Let's share more story to make it more interesting. This is something many of us know. Maybe during your childhood, you've seen this before, the Sesame Street TV program, TV show before. Okay, so Sesame Street become so famous because they break through the traditional perceptions. Education needs to be something very serious. Entertainment needs to be something very relaxed. These two are too extreme. When you learn, you can't play. While you play, you can't learn. But Sesame Street, actually, they break through these perceptions that they try to make these two extremes to combine using the both strategy to make it a realistic. Who says so? When you learn, you need to be serious and you can't play. Who says so? When you play, you can't learn. They break through these two extremes and combine educations and entertainment together. And here comes a new word in English dictionary. Today we have edutainment. So edutainment basically is a concept that basically Sesame Street, they use the both strategy to make it a reality. Because previously, nobody can ever think of when you learn, you can play, while you play, you can learn. But today, learning and playing become so naturally combined and nobody against this idea anymore. This is what we call both strategy, that you no need to choose either or, you can use the both. Do you know that in the e-business world today, we have a new concept we call the new retailing revolutions, by which from bricks and mortar physical store, we change because of the ICT revolutions, the advancement of internet technology to become e-business online. But today we have a new revolution that we combine physical and the online together. We call new retailing practices, by which the consumer can browse the products online and also they can went to the shops to have a look on the sample for the products. They combine offline and online together. Industry are moving towards both strategy usage. Okay, both strategy usage. And then, do you know that in the innovations trends, actually today people are focusing on more collaborations and social network. This is the concept that's bringing in by Professor Henry Tesbrot from US. We call open innovations concept. Initially, when we think about innovation, we may think about innovation as a solo guy effort. I believe you know who is Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, he is a very, very famous innovator. Many of us also learn about his story. We always think that Thomas Edison is the solo guy who do all the work, lonely ranger by himself. But do you know that Thomas Edison actually is a very great social networker? He have a great team of the young scientists, expertise to work with him to coming out a lot of new inventions. So in his garage or the warehouse or the research lab, he have a great teams to support the innovations he have, not like what we see only him to do the work. So today, many companies, because of they use the open innovation concept, open means you open up your innovations to invite external party, the third party to join you, you are able to create some new finding that reshaping your business. Lego can survive until today is because they utilize open innovation that reshaping their business activity. Do you know that previously, okay, Lego is very conservative company. All the idea they have on their products can only be coming from their inner designer ideas. There's one occasion, do you know, in 1980 something, when the digital games start to become popular, many of the kids or teenage, they shift their attention to the digital games, okay, to focus on that. Their business dropped drastically. Luckily, they open up their idea design to the community of Lego user to contribute the ideas for their products. And because of that, today they are able to collect a lot of idea from their active user, and this become part of the idea contribute to their current products. Even they have Lego idea series, okay, for their product itself. We have a look on Kellogg's. I believe you know Kellogg's is one of the manufacturer for the cornflakes series, one of the US company. Okay, their competitor is Nestle. So for Kellogg's, there's one occasion that they face the issue. They have no idea what is the new cornflakes they're going to introduce as some of their new products. So they send their designer to the schools. So the designer went in the school and sit during the rest time with the children and ask the children, what actually you have experienced when you eat the cornflakes at home as a breakfast. Normally for the Western people, the cornflakes is one of their main, breakfast ingredients. So the kids said to them, it's so boring. Every day I have to pour in the milk together with the traditional cornflakes and eat in this way. Can I play around with the cornflakes? If someone can design something by making the cornflakes or the cereal to become a straw shape, and I can use a straw-shaped cereal to suck the milk and then play around with it, and I can eat the straw, the cereal straw. Ding, the new ideas come in the mind for the designer. These are new ideas. They went back and create the cereal straw series as one of the best-selling product one occasion in US, because the kids can play around, eat the cereal straw. So interesting. This is something that through open innovation, it opened up the opportunity to invite a third party. Sometimes you may think they are not related, they are not in the industry or in the field, but sometimes because of their new idea, something very special, unique, it might break through the blind spot we have all this while. We have another example. There's a lot now. You can find a lot on the internet, more than thousands different case study on open innovations. The next one I would like to share with you, is Procter & Gamble, P&G. I believe you know Procter & Gamble is one of the giant, company in the world that produce a lot of the daily, appliances that we use. This is the products by them, Fabrice. Do you know Fabrice is a product because of the combination of the Procter & Gamble internal R&D and also external innovations idea. P&G is very good for their packaging, marketing, and also understand the needs in the markets. However, they don't have the technology, to create a membrane style to absorb the liquid. So they work with this Zobel, an Italian small medium enterprise. So this company, they provide the technology for creating a membrane that can absorb the liquids. And P&G basically focus on the packaging, focus on the marketing, and they make it success for Fabrice. This is the story about Fabrice. The outcome for open innovation. Let's continue further. All right. So the last thing for today that I would like to share with you all, according to Professor Henry Chesbrough, today the service industry, I believe you also know that covered more of the economic activity in those developed countries. So Prof. Henry Chesbrough, he mentioned that from open innovations, we can further extend to open service innovation, by which how can we shift the focus from product-oriented to become service-oriented thinking, from closed-ended innovations that focus on internal stuff to open it up to invite the external party to join to co-create the new product, the new service with the customer. This is something that a new concept that is bring by Prof. Henry. Let's have a look on. This is a case study that is mentioned in the books of Prof. Henry and also a few interviews before. There's one occasion, Motorola phone series, the Rise, is one of the famous product for a few years. After that, they are being replaced by Nokia. And we might think that why Motorola Rise fail and then Nokia phone fail? Is it because they don't have the demand? Is it because they do something wrong for the product? It's no. It's because they are too focusing on the product itself that fall in the blind spot to have the breakthrough for the products. But it didn't think further about what the customer wants, when they use your product, what is the additional service that we can wrap together with the product to provide superior customer experience. We see later on, this is the history, the Apple iPhones launched 2007 until today is still there. Okay, we can see that the late Steve Jobs is very smart. He tried to package the iPhone series by providing a platform for those consumers who buy the iPhones to have a platform to use the services offered by the third party that they are being provided through the App Store. So it provides the wide experience for the user that they gain the product that is good in quality, very nice in the design. At the same time, they also can enjoy the process of using some extra services through the App Store to connect to other third-party apps provider. This is something that the smartest way for the late Steve Jobs. So, Prof. Henry mentions, today the company who want to be survive or to perform some competitive advantage efforts, they need to think further from what the products can offer. Okay, this is something that he mentions as a summary to wrap the service around your products. Not only the user buy your products, they also can get the service because of the utilization over the products. And we don't think the product as a product, make it as a solution. What the user want is not the product, or what the user want is a solutions. Okay, and then can you cooperate with the customer to create some new finding, and then try to be open and invite different discipline, different background of the users to involve in the process. And then can you provide a platform that your platform can engage the user further to the products you have? Actually, this is not a new thing. Many years ago, before Prof. Henry, Peter Drucker, the management guru, I like it a lot. He mentioned what the customer buy and consider value is actually not a product. It is always the utility, what the products can do for him or her. So when you buy a product, you are not buying the product. You are buying the value that the product can contribute for you. Remember about this. Ted Levitt, he mentioned before, people don't want to buy a 1/4 inch drill. What they want is because of the 1/4 inch hole. They want the drill because they want to make a hole. So the value that your drill able to provide is more important, that we need to focus more rather than on the devices itself. This is the paradigm shift that we should have for innovation. Okay, so as a conclusion for today, due to the time constraint, okay, I would like to pick the futurist Gerd Leonard's statements last year. He said that strong skills in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics will be essential today. We know, but achieving excellence in humanity, ethics, creativity, imagination will become equally decisive. The more you can or we can digitize our world, the more human we can and we must become. So the future actually works differently. And that is the best thing that ever happened to us. How to combine the technology and the human factor that makes our life quality to be improved. So hope these short talks will provide a short inspiring for you. Any questions you would like to ask or anything you want to raise, feel free to raise. That's it from me, just a very short sharing. Okay, so thank you, Justin, for your response. Any questions, anything you would like to raise, feel free to interact. Maybe you have some opinion or you have some doubts in your mind. Feel free to raise it. There's one short video later I will share with you as a conclusion. Oh, can I have the copy of your slide? Sure, no problem, Vincent. You can get the slides. Just PM me your email address, then I send to you. No worry. Okay, no worry. Justin, could you please recommend some books for reading? Yes. Justin, you can have a look on the Prof. Henry latest books, I think published in 2018, Prof. Henry books. You can search online, Henry Chesbrough, the books from him. Okay, actually the content quoted from him is from his previous book, okay, Open Innovation. Actually, he also have more books about the current trending demands for the markets. Okay, you can find his book online, Prof. Henry books. Okay, the other books that I would like to recommend is the Thinking Fast and Slow. Okay, that book also quite good books for you to inspire your mind. Okay, so any more questions? Maybe I miss out.
Yeah, Dr. Lee. There's a question, one question from one of the participants. Can you please explain or show an example of IR 4.0 and efforts to adapt to the changes?
Okay, thank you for the good question. Actually, for IR 4.0, the examples that we can have regarding the changes that it brings us, actually, let's move back to the slide. Okay, for IR 4.0. For IR 4.0, actually, it is a combination from cyber world and physical world. And in this talk, actually, I didn't emphasize too much on IR 4.0. The example for IR 4.0 that can impact our life, one of the application is Internet of Things, by which we try to make all the electronic appliances around us become as smart as possible. Okay, for example, before you went back, maybe you work from outside, so you use your smart devices to send a signal to your aircon at home, ask the aircon to start to run, to operate. When you reach the home after 30 minutes, your room become cool. When you went out, maybe to perform some door-to-door step shopping, although not now it's not that encouraged, sometimes you forgot how many tomato you still have in your fridge. You use the apps to send a signal to your fridge at home. Sure, your fridge need to connect to the internet, have the electronic devices and also the smart component. The fridge will send back the signal to you. In the fridge currently have 5 tomato left. So you'll get the message, you know you are going to add on or not. So this is what we call the smart technology, that you can go through the sensor, the scanning process in order to make the things become more smart in interact with the human and help us in the way that to ease our life. No matter it's learning, entertaining, communications, or daily appliances. Hope this answer the questions in the short way. Okay. Any more?
Thank you, Dr. Lee.
Question?
I think that's all. It's look like we have covered all of our questions.
Just a moment.
Okay.
So this is my email address. So in case you need to get the lecture notes, maybe you can email me that I send to you. Not a problem for the lecture notes. Hope it is not too deep for you. And here basically I paste the link for the YouTube link regarding just now the futurist Mr. Get Leonard. Actually, his explanation is very good. There's a series on YouTube regarding what he talked about the future trend, the future changes in the layman term. So if you have the interest, you can have a look on his sharing. Okay.
All right. Okay, Dr. Lee, is there anything else you would like to cover before we wrap up?
I think it's enough for me. Thank you everyone for your patience and hope you enjoy the session. Stay safe, take care. Yeah.
All right, okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Lee, for this insightful webinar.